Welcome to She Rebel Radio, the podcast for high-performing women leaders who want to unlearn conventional rules, leave prestigious careers, and launch businesses of significance. Each week, She Rebel Radio brings you insights and advice from women entrepreneurs who transformed their prestige prisons into daring entrepreneurial success stories. Now, here is your host, Lulu Nins.
Welcome to episode 62 of She Rebel Radio, Reasons, Seasons and Treason. Welcome ladies, it is She Rebel Friday and an honour to be here with you today this Halloween for Reasons, Seasons and Treason. And being the She Rebel that I am and the She Rebel that you are, we are not usually ones to jump on the bandwagon of either, international holidays or, World Coffee Day or Cat Day. I don't drink coffee, so that's not a great example, but I love my cats. But even then, I'm probably the most unlikely person to post a picture of a cat on International Cat Day. I don't even know if there is an International Cat Day. If there is, do let me know. So I just made that one up. But I certainly celebrate International Women's Month in March and was sharing 30 days of She Rebel Radio over my social media platforms in March when the pandemic hit. But that was interesting as to how relevant each show was. And sometimes I might share on International Book Day or International Mental Health Day. Actually, I did share a post about women and our missing narrative and that need to find that, and that's a big part of what She Rebel Radio is about, and us sharing that very female and feminine narrative. But I'm not usually one to jump on a holiday or a bandwagon, but hey, I may even create a Christmas special for you. I don't know what's happening to me down in Cornwall, but I wanted to share with you reasons, seasons and treason for Halloween. I do love a bit of Halloween. I love autumn. I love the season of letting go. My birthday was last month, so it's kind of always like a almost new year, new energy for me, and I know a lot of you will resonate with that. And I run my business in a very cyclical way. That's a lot of work I do with my clients as well, so totally honouring the seasons, and certainly down here in Cornwall really honouring the seasons. Having a shopping trip in Mountain Warehouse, I've got some snow boots, I've got the puffer jacket, that's a bit of French coming in, le puffer jacket, really really bad French, but I'm prepared for the season down here and living right by the beach and watching the transition and change over the season is something I'm really, really looking forward to. I love the light disappearing. I love us gaining light in the summer. And, I eat in a very cyclical way as well now. In really needing to eat what's local and nearby, and that feeling more and more natural to me as we become more connected with ourselves and what it is that we're doing. So I digress, however. Before I am sharing with you today's Halloween special, and if you are returning to the show or you are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you have not left us a review or subscribed to She Rebel Radio, then I would love it if you did both of those things. That would massively support us, help me out in a very organic show that we've had since we launched last September. So I'm going to dive in and stop digressing, because I know you are excited to hear on She Rebel Friday what reasons, seasons and treason is all about. And what we're going to dive into is, firstly, we're going to be looking at treason. To celebrate Halloween, Guy Fawkes and the gunpowder plot. And we're going to be looking at where it is that you are in treason to yourself by being disloyal to yourself and what it is that you want. So that's the first piece. Secondly, we're going to be looking at why this is the season to let go of what is creating that. And thirdly, we're going to look at what reasons or excuses, but for today's purposes, reasons, what reasons or excuses are keeping you stuck. Because if you don't start dealing with this now, you are going to be in that same position in 2021. Okay, this is the perfect season to do this work. Hence why, ladies, on She Rebel Friday, we are diving into reasons, seasons and treason. So let's kick off with treason. And just a little reminder of Halloween. what it's all about. It's become very Americanized here in the UK. I've certainly noticed actually on socials, everyone pumpkin picking, like that wasn't a thing, but I think that's a good thing in terms of, connecting with nature and it being, something that is part of the season. But it's definitely become like the Facebook post of the last few weeks is pumpkin picking. And it's really important to look at what we're celebrating Halloween, which is Guy Fawkes. Those of you rewind, go back to school, we remember this stuff. Guy Fawkes and the Gunpowder Plot. And Guy Fawkes is the face of treason. Guy Fawkes was going to blow up the king, the sovereign, and the whole of Parliament. And he failed. He failed miserably. And we celebrate every Halloween the failure of treason. And the failure of treason is the failure of someone who wanted to show and express in a very violent, disruptive, terrorist way that they were disloyal to the crown, to the sovereign. So being disloyal to the crown or the sovereign, and the crown, the king, the queen, the royal family, parliament, the whole system and structure that stands certainly in the UK in terms of our British constitution, taking me back to my legal days and law school days, that to be, disloyal to that is to be treason, to be in treason of. So even if someone was, looking at having an affair with the king's wife or, whatever, that would be treason as well. But it's the real thing is disloyalty. Loyalty is a massive value of mine, by the way. Loyalty, integrity, grit, there's a number of them. But loyalty, massive, massive value of mine. So it is no wonder actually 6 years ago when I was being disloyal to myself, to my ruler, to my inner sovereign by continuing to practice law and do something that didn't feel authentic to me anymore, that things felt pretty crappy and uncomfortable. So what I want to ask you today in this season of Halloween, when we have the face of treason that is Guy Fawkes, online, everywhere. Well, we can't really go trick-or-treating thanks to COVID and the pandemic of 2020, but, we're very aware of that, what's going on at the moment. How can you start to look inwards and question where you're being disloyal to yourself, where you are in treason to yourself? And by that, I mean being disloyal to your inner crown or your crown chakra, if you're a yogi like me, to your inner sovereign, to your inner queen. Because when you are disloyal to that higher self, to who you are in truth, to who what your values are and what it is that you want to do, then you end up being in an inner conflict. Forget the king and Guy Fawkes, you've got that whole shit show going on with you. Sorry for the swearing, but this is She Rebel Radio. You've got that whole thing going on internally with you. So that first question is, where are you being disloyal to yourself and what you want? So now let's move on to part 2, which is seasons and reasons. I've already mentioned why autumn is the season for letting go. Halloween is also the season for bonfires, okay? So letting go and burning down the house, okay? Not literally, but burning down what is no longer serving you and supporting you in your actions and behaviours and habits that are really creating this inner conflict and disloyalty to yourself, who you are, what it is that you want, what you want your business to be, how you are showing up within that. And autumn is a great time for the inner critic to come out. Things are stripped naked and laid bare. The leaves are falling off the trees. We can finally have a great deal of clarity of what is not and is working. And the inner critic is a term really coined in terms of its connection to autumn and our inner autumn as women, which is all related to our cycle, which I'm not going to go into that here, but I thought it was really relevant in terms of the inner critic part, is that it's a real time, autumn, because of that stripping back, because of being able to see the wood for the trees. That's the perfect time for reflection and introspection. And with that reflection and introspection comes a high degree of the inner critic. of actually, okay, because we have to unleash that inner critic for us to be open and honest with ourselves about where we're actually being disloyal to ourselves, to the ruler, to the crown, to your inner sovereign. So this is the season to do that. That doesn't mean you can't do that at any time, other times of year, but this is a great time for letting go and, having a bonfire, burning some of those old stories, those old beliefs, those old behaviors and habits, which really do result in you being disloyal to yourself, to your inner sovereign, to your inner crown. And as women, we are so good at this. I have, in terms of letting it go, but also that reflection and introspection, but more in terms of being disloyal to ourselves, people pleasing, saying yes when you mean no, when actually no should be your default button. So where has that been showing up for you? And were you to let that go, when you can reflect and let go of that this season, what would that make space for? These are the questions you really need to be asking yourself at this time of year. And, even bigger in terms of our period of reflection and introspection as the world starts to meet lockdown again. We have it in local places here in the UK. I think Italy, France, etc., are back to where we were back in March. But if you don't do this work now, it is going to hold you back from where you want to be in the spring, in 2021, in that new energy. So autumn is a perfect time to do this. So that is the seasons part. And the reasons. The reasons are, what excuses and reasons are you making that are keeping you massively stuck? Because my experience is, and I've done this myself, but I really am pretty strong at flipping and reversing it, and also encouraging my clients to flip and reverse the excuses they are making for not doing something is the very excuse and reason they should be using to do it. I'm going to say that again. The excuses they are making for not doing something is the very reason they should be using to do the thing. And an example of this is when I hired my first one-to-one coach. There was a woman who I didn't have like a great friendship with or anything, but we were sending each other voice notes or whatever. We were on the same coaching course. And she said to me when I hired my one-to-one coach, "Oh, it's all right for you. You don't have kids. It's okay for you. You don't have kids." And it peed me off, quite frankly, because she didn't know anything about my personal circumstances, my financial situation. I didn't have the emotional financial support of a partner, which was something that she had at that time, to support me in getting my business out there. That wasn't an option for me at that time. So I was like, she doesn't, so on a personal level, it definitely triggered me. And secondly, I thought, God, the coach in me was like, what would it look like for her if she made that very excuse of having kids, therefore not having the money and power of investment to invest in a high-level coach? What if she made her kids the very reason why she needed to make that investment and create that change and growth for them? How would things change for her? And I see this time and time again with women who are not investing in things that they should be. So, particularly women with business either not investing in the marketing support that you need or the coaching support you need. You say, when I've started creating the clients and getting an income, then I'll get the marketing support, then I will get the coaching support. And it's a chicken and egg situation, ladies, because if you're not investing, because you haven't got the money and finances to invest, is the very reason that you need to invest in the marketing support, coach support, mindset support, whatever it might be, my support, my retreats, to help you make that shift, because you're the only one creating your financial situation. So if you use your financial situation as a reason to not invest, you should be using your financial situation as a reason to invest, which again is what I had to do when I hired my first coach by way of the coaching course. I didn't have the money to invest, so that could have been my excuse, but it was actually my very reason for investing. I don't have the money. I'm not making money. My business that I had at the time was not working for me. It was suddenly starting to fall away, and I was letting go of it without even wanting to. And by the way, that was in the autumn. So that happened. Things will involuntarily, as the season has it, will start to slip away, and you can't even hold on to it even when you want to. I actually quit my job in November. I've let go of 2 businesses in October, November. Like, seriously, this is a perfect time to let go of stuff, and that's even if you don't want to. But within that, the flip side of that is you have to use your excuses to become your very reasons for doing something. And another great example, and a big one, women's greatest enemy is not having enough time. It's a massive excuse for not investing in coaching. Oh, I haven't got the time, it's not the right time right now. Then that should be the very reason that you are investing and doing the inner work. Because if you're so busy doing other stuff, you're going to get more dragged down the wrong track. And I love I don't think the saying's by anyone in particular, but if you should meditate for 2 minutes a day, if you haven't got time, you should be meditating for an hour. And that is a great explanation of that principle in practice of make your excuses your very reason for doing something. So that is the reasons part of this episode. So what excuses can be your reasons for actually doing something? So I'm going to sum up in a minute for reasons, seasons, and treason, which we've done it kind of back to front, but I hope it works and makes sense to you as to how all of these pieces fit together. And if you would like my help and support one-to-one in doing this incredibly important work at this time of year, do not wait. Oh, I want to have my massive growth and expansion in March, April next year, and that's probably when everything will be better and back to normal. You need to start doing the work now. When you start doing the work and the foundational work now that I've laid out for you in reasons, seasons, and treason, then you are going to see the biggest impact and growth, bigger than you can even imagine in spring next year. If you wait until spring, then you're going to be digging around in the dirt when you could actually be expanding and evolving, right? And as I keep saying, the next 10 years is going to see the global expansion and evolution of women. It is up to you to start doing some of the deep and dirty work that you probably don't want to do. And that starts today with number 1, treason. Where are you being disloyal to yourself and what you want? That's what you want within your business or on a personal level, or both, preferably. Number 2, what can you release and let go of this season? Or what do you need to release and let go of this season? And maybe put it on the bonfire for Halloween. And thirdly, what excuses are you making? What excuses have you been making this year which need to start being your very reason for doing something? Because when you flip that, ladies, trust me, things start to change. So it's been amazing to share with you this Halloween. Have an amazing one. Reasons, seasons, and treason. Don't forget to reach out to me if you would like my support one-to-one at lulu@lulumins.com. We have an incredible retreat also coming up in March. So imagine doing this work and then turning up to that retreat in March. Who is that woman who's going to be turning up? Do reach out to talk to me about that. And please never forget to leave us a review and hit subscribe if you are an avid listener and fan of She Rebel Radio.
Thanks for listening to She Rebel Radio, the podcast for high-performing women leaders who want to unlearn conventional rules, leave prestigious careers, and launch businesses of significance. She Rebel Radio is executive produced and hosted by women's advocate and coach Lulu Mins. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss another episode. You can find Lulu Mins on Facebook and LinkedIn at Lulu Mins and on Instagram at LuluMins_biz. Until next week, keep rebelling against the rules and designing success your way.